Welcome, writers, readers, and friends to the Authors Talking Bookish podcast. I'm Donna Norman Carbone, author of All That Is Sacred.
And I'm Hope Gibbs, author of Where the Grass Grows Blue.
We're two debut writers traditionally published by a small publishing house, bringing to you all the experiences that we as authors learn the hard way, so you don't have to.
We'll give you insights from the inception of a book idea to publication and beyond. And along the way, we'll share our love of books from the writer's perspective.
Hey, friends. Welcome back to episode 53. I can't believe it's 53 already. Today we're talking about Scrivener Simplified, your beginner's guide to writing smarter. I am Donna Carbone, and I am joined by Hope Gibbs. Hello, Hope. How are you today?
Hey, Donna. I am great. It is, the summer is coming to an end, and I'm getting excited because fall is around the corner. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just started school.
Oh, how is that? How's school going?
School's going. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. We have no air conditioning in our school. Do you have air conditioning in all your schools?
100%. It's the South. We have air conditioning everywhere.
Yeah, we do not.
Now, I didn't as a child. So when I grew up in my elementary school, it was rare that you got one of the rooms that did have like a window unit.
Yeah.
But no, I don't even know if my children would have survived if they didn't have air conditioning.
It's tough. I usually keep my lights off in my room just to not have to worry about that heat. And it's usually bearable until about noon. And then from noon to 2, everybody's just deplete of energy at that point. It's so hard to teach.
Yeah. Well, I guess you really are looking forward to fall. I'm looking forward to fall decorations and I love my pumpkins. But you're actually looking forward to fall for a whole different reason.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you reading these days?
So I read this book back at the beginning of August because I had the pleasure of interviewing this author because I'm still a tour guide at Bookish Road Trip. I do Author Take the Wheel. And it was the most interesting book. Okay, so first off, I love this cover.
I do too. I love that flower.
I know. It's called Jill Is Not Happy by Kara Ruda. And let me tell you, this woman is not happy. It is about a marriage with this man named Jack and a woman named Jill. And it's really funny at the beginning of the book. She is like, Jack and Jill is a nursery rhyme. It's not a fairy tale. And so she plans this road trip to Utah because she knows her husband is wanting to divorce her. And she has other plans. And it's told from two POVs, his POV, her POV. It is a game of cat and mouse. I sat there page after page, my mouth wide open going, this woman is bonkers. But shockingly, I was kind of rooting for her. Like she's a bad guy, but in the best way. It was it was wicked. It was delicious. And I got to say, the author, she is one of my favorites. When I got to interview her, absolutely loved it. So I'm hoping to get her on for next year because she has a book coming out in 2026.
Oh, exciting. I would love that. I definitely want to read this book.
Yes. Okay. So tell me, what are you reading?
So I am reading London by Edward Rutherford. And so this book is, I used to take my British literature students on tour in England, and I would build the tour around our curriculum so they could kind of see what we were learning.
Yeah.
And one of the tour guides referred me to this book because I said to him, the thing I love the most about touring is all the backstories that you hear, like the lore surrounding different places or people. And so he's like, oh, you've got to read this book. So I read the book. We made it a summer reading book. It's 1,100 pages. My first couple of rounds, we had the students read the whole book. And then after that, we were like, we can't do this to them. So we pick out different chapters for them to read. And the book lends itself really well to that because it's a historical fiction from the first settlers in London, which, fun fact for you, London used to be called Londinium. And it takes you on this journey towards the evolution of London to modern day. And the thing I love the most about it is that it weaves historical characters and places and events with fictional characters and places and events that might have occurred during the time. So each year we do a festival with our Brit Lit students because it's a college level course, and we have them create a festival. And so when we read London, we have them create a London Alive festival. And so each group is responsible for a different chapter and bringing that chapter to life in some way.
Okay, I love that. First, you gave me some trivia because I think I told you my family, we've been going to these trivia nights here in a couple of miles from our house. Came in third last time.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so I will have to add that not only to my reading list, but I now have to, lock that away, the what London was called before. So
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about this episode. You said 53. Every time we get into those numbers, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of podcast.
I
And this is
know.
something that we have never discussed. And
Nope.
it's something that I am not as familiar with because I don't use it, but I know a lot of writers, have a lot of writing friends that do. So let's talk about this episode.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Scrivener today, which is something that I swear by. I use it for every single one of my novels. It's writing software. So you go to a website called Literature Latte, and you have to buy a license for it. Although they do give you a free version as well. And they also have an app. So you can use it on your tablet. You can use it on your phone. I do not. I use it on my laptop. But really, it's a storehouse for everything that you need. It's like one-stop shopping for a writer. Everything you need is in one place. And so for each novel, you create like a binder, and you put together all the research that you have, all the character bios you have, anything you have on settings, timelines, all that stuff. And then there's a place to write, and there's a place for notes. Just it's an everything
Okay.
database.
So I'm going to stop you there because I would like to know how much does it cost? And is it for 1 year? Is it for
It's
forever?
forever. And
Okay.
so I don't know, I should have looked at the price. I don't know. That's something that our listeners will have to Google. But I know that when I purchased it, it was about, I think, $130, and that's for a license forever.
And as
So
someone who has update issues, do you constantly have to update the app or
you
is it
don't.
it's okay.
No, it's easy breezy. They
Perfect.
do have updates occasionally, but it updates itself. I also have to say that they'll really work with you because when I first started writing, I wrote on a PC. And so I bought the license for the PC, and then I switched over to a MacBook,
Oh.
and they just switched over my license for me, which was nice. So I didn't have to rebuy a license.
Oh,
So
that is great.
I have every book stored there from the first time that I started writing. It was a long time ago. So
Okay.
I got a deal when I did NaNoWriMo, which I know I've
Mhm.
mentioned before, but NaNoWriMo is no longer.
I know.
RIP. But as one of the free giveaways for finishing, they would give you a discount to Scrivener, and that's how I came upon it.
Yeah.
So I have some visuals, some
Yes.
slides
Yes.
for our listeners and our viewers. And so we're going to take you through some of those. Hope, will you turn to the first one?
I will.
Okay. So when you sign into Scrivener, and as I mentioned, they do have a free trial period. So I would definitely recommend doing that before investing, but I highly recommend investing. It's one of the best investments I've made as a writer. But if you're looking on the screen was just the first page that you come to. And that allows you to select your project. So it will format for you whether you're doing a novel, a novella, a collection of short stories, a collection of poetry, or even a screenplay. And
Oh,
it'll create that format for you, so you don't have to do any of the formatting.
okay. So as someone who I'm a Word person, that's how I have written my first book, my second and third that are currently going. So does
Yeah.
it start out with your margins? Does it start out with the line spacing? Is that how it's formatting it for you?
So it no. The way that it formats for you is in the compile feature, which is at the end. So after you've done everything, after you've gone through and created your binder, which, as I mentioned, it's kind of like the back um, the backstory elements
Huh?
that don't get put into the actual book. And then you've got your manuscript chapter and scenes. It breaks it down into scenes. At the very end, you could go and through and compile exactly what you want to. So there's a checkbox for every single file that you make, and you just leave the ones that you don't want to go in the finished manuscript unchecked. And so at that point, that's when it marginates and does the line spacing and all of that for
Nice.
you. So you
Okay.
could download it to a Word document, you can download it to a PDF. I usually download it to a Word document.
How easy is that? Because sometimes that's intimidating. Is it a pretty straightforward to get it into that format?
Yeah, it's a click of a button. You literally just click the scenes that you want compiled, and they're already in the order that you want them compiled, because you have the ability to move them around within your binder, and you just click compile,
Oh,
and then you select your format, and it's done for you.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go to the next visual that you did.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is number 2. What are we
Okay.
looking at here?
So on the left, you can see the binder, and you can see the way the binder is laid out. The first at the very top, it's the title of your work. And then it's the manuscript, which is broken down into chapters and scenes. And you could add as many scenes to chapters as you want to. And then at the bottom is all the back matter. It's your research. You could link websites there. You can copy and paste documents. I was just working on mine today, and I asked ChatGPT a question, and I copied and pasted everything ChatGPT said and put it into my research, because I'm going to pick out little nuggets that I want to use. My book is about venture capitalists gone bad. And
Ooh.
so I'm asking details that I wouldn't know because I've never worked at a venture capitalist place. It's almost like interviewing. And so I've taken out little nuggets that I can then morph to fit my story.
So that way you have the lingo of what
Yeah,
a character would yeah, because I would not know
yeah,
that lingo. I guess I could ask, my son and my husband who both were
yeah.
finance majors, but that's a great idea.
Yeah,
So it does make so instead of me, if I'm in my Word, I have to go in and out and in and out. There's nowhere for me to put that.
right, right. So this takes using multiple documents, which is what I have sometimes done, definitely did before this. And it puts it all in one place. So you can just toggle back and forth. You can even do like a split screen and
Hmm,
have your notes on one side and then the writing space for your manuscript on the other. And so in that visual that you just showed to the right of the binder, which is
mhm.
almost like having a physical binder with tabs in it, if you can imagine that. And then to the right of it is where you write your manuscript.
Ah, well then let's keep going.
Yep.
Why don't you tell me some key features that writers should use when you're using Scrivener?
Sure. So there is a corkboard that you can use, which actually is shown in a later slide. But what you're looking at right now, I think, are character bios, setting bios. They have templates for you to use, or you can create your own. And there's a section on there. And so I have a character sheet for every single character. And you know, when you're writing and something comes to you that you hadn't thought about your character, a new feature, a new, motivation for something, and you want to go back and you kind of want to put it on your character bio so you remember it. That's how I use that feature while I'm writing.
Nice. So you can create individual character bios within Scrivener.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a template laid out for you. And then I add to it by including, so what they have laid out is, like personality, history, family history, career, fears, goals, those kinds of things. And you fill it all in. And then what I do is I add the things that are not there. Like for every single major character that I write, I always seek a visual to kind of refer back to. And sometimes it's a celebrity, an actor, an actress. Sometimes it's just a person that I see in an ad, and I'll just copy and paste the ad to the character bio, just as, inspiration when I'm wanting to write something physical, but it's not coming to me. So I'll go back to the picture and be like, oh, I could describe that,
Okay, I love that, because sometimes a visual does help with your writing, because, by seeing it, instead of having to go back and forth like I would have to, or I would have to pull something up on my phone. So
Yeah.
the more you talk about this, I think I am going to have to do a deep dive into Scrivener, because it
Yeah.
sounds like it just makes the experience so much easier.
Yeah. You have to dabble.
Okay, well, then let's talk about okay, so if I'm going to do this, what are some of
Mhm.
the benefits that Scrivener can give me outside of what we've already talked about?
Well, I think the benefits are that everything is customizable.
Mhm.
Everything is in the same spot. So you're working from one database on each project that you have. And if you're somebody who writes, two novels at a time, you can have one project going and another project going. And that alleviates all the different files that you have to create in Word or in Google, whichever you use. It's all right there for you.
Oh, wow. So this is a personal note. This isn't even something that we even have in our notes. Do you still have your first two books that are already out there and published? Do you still have them in Scrivener form? And just how different do they look from when you were working on it in Scrivener to the final product? Because you and I both know with editing, you don't edit with your publisher with Scrivener.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's one very important point. Um, yeah. So the way that I use Scrivener is I use it for all the back matter stuff that I build before I even start writing. I use it to write. I use it for my first pass or two of revising, because you could literally like write a scene in chapter 2 and decide, you know what, I want to move this to chapter 5. And just with a click, you just move it down to chapter 5. So it's really user friendly in that way. However, when I start to get into more of like the line edits and I'm
Mhm.
not moving like the big scene things, I do download it into like a Google format, and I work in Google before I send it off to my editor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
where do you want to go next? What
So
visual do you want to go
let's
to
take a
next?
look at 4 really quick. So 4 is this, you're looking at the template for the setting, and it has things like unique features, description, sites that you might see. And what I will do is all of my research for my settings goes on this template, in addition to some houses or buildings that show up frequently. I'll put visuals of those in that template as well, so I can take a look at that if I need a visual inspiration.
Okay. So, what are some tips that you can give us with, because again, I don't use Scrivener. I've actually never seen it open. What's a tip as if I'm going to do this? Is there like tutorials, or
There
is there
are
videos?
tutorials. Yes,
Okay.
there are tutorials. So right when you log in and after you choose your project, let's say I'm writing a novel. So I'm going to click on the novel. There's a little visual icon. You click on it. I'm writing a novel. And then it comes up with a tutorial to get you started. There's also a help screen, and you can go onto YouTube, and YouTube has a plethora of how to use Scrivener. I think the one drawback to Scrivener is that it has so many capabilities that it could be overwhelming to some people.
Yes. Yeah.
So my thought, and this is kind of how I approached it, is that I was going to take baby steps and not use all the features or feel like I had to master all the features. I don't even feel like I've mastered all the features now. But once I got comfortable with a feature, I would try a different feature.
Okay, that's a good idea. There are things because I'm a very slow adapter to technology. I still don't know everything my car can do.
Yeah,
So for someone like me, I think I would be overwhelmed. That's a good idea. Take it slowly. Now, as someone who is always fearful of losing my work, I mean, does it automatically save or is it something that you have to constantly do?
it does. It automatically saves for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
And if you want to switch, go to 5 really quick.
Okay.
So 5, if you are on YouTube, you are looking at the whole screen. On the left is the binder. In the middle is the manuscript where you are writing. And then on the right-hand side is what they call the metadata. And so for those of you who have to write synopsis after you're done, which you sometimes will have to do when you're querying your work, what I do is I just do a quick scene summary up there. So I have that. And then underneath there's a notepad. So let's say I know I've shared this tried and true writing tip before, that you never stop a writing session at the end of a scene. You always stop it in the middle. I use that notes section to write down notes of where I'm going to go when I start my next writing session. So I
Oh,
always have that.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the notepad feature is something that I use a lot.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so we have 2 more slides. Do you wanna go over them?
Yeah.
So this one
Yeah.
is
So
okay, so this yeah,
this
what is
is
this?
this is what they call the corkboard. And the corkboard is kind of like, for those of you who like sticky notes, actually the next slide too, you can toggle over to that one. That's filled out. Um, so the corkboard, there's a card for every single chapter. And on the outside, it takes all of the notes that you wrote in that upper right-hand corner where I said to, write a brief summary of what the scene is about. It takes all of those and it compiles them. And so you could take a quick look at what every scene has in it, which makes revising so much easier, so much easier. So for those of you who write note cards for every chapter or sticky notes for every chapter, you don't have to. It does that for you, and they are movable. So you
Yeah.
could move them around if you need to.
Well, Donna, I think you've convinced me that I am at least going to investigate further because it sounds like I've made it a little harder on myself than it has to be. So, and this
Yeah,
may not be right for every writer. It may not be right for me, but I definitely now am very curious about Scrivener. So I thank you for all this information. And
I appreciate it.
as our teacher, because you are back in school,
Yeah.
what's our due now for our audience?
So I think your due now is quite simply to download the free version and
Mhm.
just play around with it. We also have a free download. So if you watched on YouTube, all of those graphics that came up with samples also have a how-to with each of them.
Nice.
So our free download is a very basic how to start with Scrivener and just play around with it. I really do think it's going to be a time saver, and I
Yeah.
think it's going to be something that you love.
Ah, I love that. Well, as always, guys, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, and check out our Instagram page, or just go to our website and you can get those free downloads. And let's talk about our next episode that's coming up. So, Donna, what is it?
Yeah, so we're going to do another how-to for you. We're going to dive into how to create a Substack, how a Substack will help you with your writing life.
Uh, well, it has been a pleasure. And again, I'm going to get off this podcast and I am going to go to Scrivener. I am very curious.
Yeah, the website link will be in the show notes, so you'll want to make sure that you take a look at those.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And Donna, thank you so much for all this information. And until next time, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Hope Gibbs.
And I'm Donna Norman Carbone. It's time for you to get to work.
We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks with another tip from your author friends.